President Obama urging Americans to stay strong and fearless in the wake of this weekend's wave of terror.
We all have a role to play as citizens in making sure that we don't succumb to that fear.
At this hour, new developments continue emerging. Next, hear from New Jersey police on the capture of a suspected terrorist.
We are still savoring every bit of summer with plenty of sunshine out there, but it's not going to last all week. We'll look at our fall from grace coming up. Karen?
Plus, controversial move. The Department of Justice makes an announcement, a response to the death of a Macomb County inmate. What they've decided to do that has created some contention. And a picture of Little Miss Flint with Donald Trump is going viral, but not for the reason you might think. I'm Karen Drew. Those stories and more right now on First at 4. This has been a day of dramatic developments after a weekend bombing and the discovery of other bombs in and around New York City. A suspect was cornered, shot, wounded, and arrested late this morning. Devin Scillian is live in the newsroom to bring us up to date. Devin.
Yeah, Karen, his name is Ahmad Khan Rahami. He's 28 years old, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Afghanistan whose family runs a fried chicken restaurant in New Jersey. Sources are telling CNN Rahami has made several trips to Afghanistan in recent years, and his arrest today capped a series of events that goes back to last Saturday morning. On Saturday morning, a bomb goes off near a charity race in New Jersey. No one injured. 12 hours later in Manhattan, a bomb blast injures 29 people. Then a pressure cooker bomb spotted nearby, but that one was safely removed. Well, move ahead to Sunday morning. Pipe bombs found near a New Jersey rail station. They're also removed. Rahami is then named as a suspect, and this morning spotted sleeping in a restaurant hallway in Linden, New Jersey, where he opens fire on police.
Fired one shot at the officer, striking him in the abdomen. Fortunately, the officer had a bulletproof vest on, which sustained most of the round. The officer returned fire, and at that point, the suspect got up and started walking down the street.
Rahami allegedly shot and wounded another officer before officers shot and wounded Rahami, and he is hospitalized. The two wounded officers, we're told, are expected to recover from their wounds. I want to point out there is no indication the New York and New Jersey bombings were connected to the knife attack that occurred at a mall in Minnesota over the weekend. The person who stabbed 9 people was shot and killed. We continue to follow developments on all of these fronts, and we'll have an update coming up on Local 4 News at 5. Quite a weekend, though, Karen. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Devin. Meantime, here's Rod Maloney with more on the local response.
Indeed, the events in New York City and New Jersey over the last 24 hours, also St. Cloud, Minnesota, have many people wondering what is the situation here. They're on edge, concerned about what might happen when it comes to terrorism in Metro Detroit. What is being done? Who is on the watch? How do they watch? Ahead on Local 4 News at 5, we're going to take a look at precisely how this is all being managed from two people who know from the inside.
All right, thank you, Ron. The Department of Justice probe into the 2014 death of a Macomb County jail inmate finished today, finding there is not enough evidence to move forward with a criminal investigation against the county for the treatment of David Strojewski. Strojewski died in Macomb County Jail after losing 50 pounds in 17 days. His family was suing the county, saying jail employees failed to respond to his medical needs. Macomb County Sheriff Anthony Wickersham says all proper protocol was followed and praised his staff again today.
The men and women of the Macomb County Sheriff's Office conduct themselves with a high level of respect and professionalism while performing a task that many in society do not want to do nor will do. And for that, I am proud of them.
Sheriff Wickersham remained vague on what exact changes would be made, but said the county will be more sensitive to inmates' medical needs. Make sure to stick with us for more as well. We'll also be hearing from the mother of the victim on Local 4 News at 6. Charges have been upgraded against the man suspected in last week's shooting of a Detroit police sergeant, Kenneth Steele. He died over the weekend. Marquise Cromer is now facing charges of murdering a peace officer, first-degree murder, and resisting and obstructing a police officer causing death. Cromer is expected to be arraigned on the new charges tomorrow morning. To honor their fallen sergeant, the DPD is decorating a squad car in his memory. Highland Park police now have 2 persons of interest in custody at this hour in connection to the carjacking and shooting of a 70-year-old. It happened in the early morning hours last Monday at Hamilton and Cortlandt Street. The thieves shot Reginald Carr twice in the chest, then took off in a Chevy Trailblazer. Miraculously, the Army veteran did survive. Meantime, the 2 in custody were arrested last night. No word on any charges at this point. The clock is ticking for General Motors workers in Canada. A union representing 3,900 Canadian GM workers says it will strike tonight if no agreement is reached. Right now, the union wants a commitment from GM for a new product at its assembly plant in Oshawa, Ontario. The same plant supplied engines to 15% of GM vehicles sold in the U.S. last year. GM says it will only make future product decisions after an agreement. First at 4, we're on top of stories making headlines all around the world. A 21-year-old father from Michigan died in a bus crash in North Carolina, and his grandmother says it's a tragedy as the young man was finally getting his life on track.
Go back to school, make a better life for himself, take care of his child, and like he told me, I just want to take care of everybody.
Devontae Gibson had just enrolled in a school for high school graduates and was on his way to his first football game when the bus crashed. More than 40 people were injured in that crash. 4 were killed, including Gibson. The United Nations met in New York today as world leaders held the first summit focused solely on refugees. The meeting focused on creating a more coordinated and humane response to the refugee crisis. While no concrete commitments were made, world leaders called on countries to protect refugees' human rights and boost humanitarian aid. The UN also hopes to standardize responses and provide better education and jobs to refugees in the near future. Got some good news this afternoon out of Florida regarding the Zika virus, as Florida's governor says the Miami Wynwood Arts District is no longer considered a zone of active Zika transmission. The neighborhood north of downtown Miami was the first place in the U.S. to have live mosquitoes transmitting the virus. But after 45 days without an infection, the area has been deemed safe. Now, the state's focus is shifting to stopping the spread of Zika in Miami Beach. Time now for our first look at the forecast. Only a few official days left of summer, and it sure is gorgeous out there.
Yeah, about 72 hours, but who's counting, right? I mean, you would never know that we are approaching fall with the sunshine that's out there and the temperatures that are about 10 degrees above average for this time of year. Not much of the way of wind out there, just enough to stir things up. But there is going to be enough high clouds tonight that I don't think that we're going to have an issue with fog. So that's going to be good news for drivers in the morning. Storm chances are going to hold off until late in the week. We'll look at those. The weekend's going to be feeling like fall. There's no doubt about that. We'll check out a much cooler forecast in your 7-day outlook. Plus, your 4-zone forecast will break down high temperatures tomorrow and see if we can beat these 83s that are out there right now. Karen.
Ben, former Detroit firehouses are finding new life in a city that sold them to help solve its financial crisis. Let's bring in Jamie Edmonds, who is live in Detroit with a look at this important part of the city's revival.
Good evening, Karen. The former fire department headquarters over my shoulder, it was announced a couple years ago that it would be turned into a boutique hotel, where it turns out the city closed and sold off other shuttered firehouses, and they too will get makeovers. Back in the 1920s, these doors would allow fire trucks to come in and out. These days, this door makes way for construction workers, giving the building new life. The former ladder company number 12 is still a work in progress, but its new owner tells me upstairs has been completely remodeled into a home. The downstairs will soon be a workspace. This is the former engine number 18 on Mount Elliott. It also is under construction to become a residence. Someone who used to work here drove up to take a look at its progress.
This is a lot of memory here at this fire station for me. I ran here back in 1979 to 1986.
Back in 2013, just before bankruptcy, the city started selling off old firehouses and 1 police precinct, 8 in total. So far, 6 have been sold, and there are discussions to sell the other 2. A city spokesman told me even though it was a different administration's idea, it wasn't about the sale price, more about getting the properties back on the tax roll, back generating revenue. The fire chief thinks it's a great idea.
What these guys are doing is great. I mean, they're restoring some of these buildings.
All right, so to be clear, not everyone thinks it's a great idea. The president of the Detroit Firefighters Association, Michael Nevin, I talked to him today. He said they should have never been sold. They need those places open so they can respond to fires and the like. But the city tells me that they have adequate coverage, so those things are shuttered. And they're not just all houses, they're going to be businesses as well. Live in downtown Detroit, Jamie Edmonds, Local 4.
Well, obviously, Jamie, a lot of this talk is about money. So how much money has the city actually made on the sales?
Well, Karen, you know, some sold for $76,000, some sold for $50,000. This building behind me sold for $1.25 million. So in total, about $2 million. But again, it wasn't about that price. It's about the tax revenue in the future.
Right, and bringing some people into those abandoned buildings there. All right, Jamie Edmonds reporting live for us this afternoon. Ahead first at 4, an exciting addition. Big news for cupcake fans, where you can now get some just baked cupcakes. Also, the Emmys were last night. Local 4's The Voice is celebrating as they prepare to premiere a new season. What they won and when you can catch the new season. Hi, Doc.
Constantly checking your social media sites, you could possibly be addicted. I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Coming up, the signs it's a problem and who's most at risk for it.
Coming up all new on Local 4 News at 5 and 6.
I'm Nick Monticelli in Berkeley, where they have big plans to change the downtown look of this city by closing 2 streets. Some businesses are thrilled, some not so much.
All right, Ben is back. You were gone last week. I missed you. You were at the beach.
Well, I was
working,
weather geeking for a while.
Yeah, but I don't see much of a tan there.
I tried.
Do you tan?
I did the best I could. I got really red and itchy, and
then you said, "Forget it. I'm going back inside." Yeah. Well, it's good to have you back. We missed you.
Thank you. We got plenty of sun that's out there right now, but we're going to start out with low temperatures this morning. With that fog around and those mostly clear skies, we're seeing temperatures around in the 50s this morning with right around 60 degrees at Metro Airport, but there are a couple spots, Lapeer and Ann Arbor, that dip down to 48, 49. So doing the math between then and now, out there in Washtenaw County, 35 degrees warmer than where you started out this morning. So everybody's in the 80s now, and we've got almost crystal clear skies. There are some showers and a few storms that are showing up on radar off to our north. This is just ahead of a cold front. Usually when we've got temperatures in the 80s, even this time of year, and we're going to pass a cold front through here, that's usually enough to gin up at least some rain, but that's not going to be the case. High pressure is going to take control, and if we do see any rain out of this system, it should stay off to our north. So looking forward to tonight. We'll probably get some higher clouds in here, especially after midnight, and tomorrow morning when we wake up, likely you're going to see more clouds than sunshine, at least to start. Then the sunshine takes over and we'll go back to where we were today. Beautiful skies as we get into the afternoon, and temperatures, despite being on the other side of that front, should still make it into the 80s in most locations. Tonight, though, 61 degrees, and with added cloud cover, I don't think that we're going to have a fog issue. Plus, those temperatures will be just a little bit warmer, especially in some of those outlying areas, than what we saw last night. So here's your 4-zone forecast as we look at high temperatures tomorrow. We'll start in the metro zone, similar to what we saw today, 82 degrees in Detroit, Dearborn, slightly cooler as you get there to the north. But this is one of those days where we're probably not going to see much of a difference across our zones until we get into the north zone north of 59. So down to the south, 82 at Blissfield, maybe just slightly cooler here as you get towards the lakes. Luna Pier and Monroe both in the upper 70s tomorrow afternoon. Out in our west zone, firmly into the 80s in most spots. 78 though there in Flint and Milford at 79. And north of M59 in our north zone, probably 70s, mid-70s through most locations tomorrow. And then we'll see those temperatures inch up just a little bit from there as we head towards the upcoming next few days. In fact, we're looking at 80-degree highs at least through the start of fall, which is coming on Thursday. And then once we officially get into autumn, it's going to feel like it. Temperatures drop towards the weekend. Highs will be in the low 70s both Saturday and Sunday, so not necessarily chilly, but those morning lows are going to go back to the 50s. Mostly dry forecast through Monday. Just a couple chances of thunderstorms there Friday and Monday. Looks like we'll probably escape those as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. Karen?
Thanks, Ben. In good health, so many people are constantly checking their social media pages that some could actually say they're addicted. Dr. McGeorge is here to answer that question. So this addiction is a real thing.
It is definitely real. And the interesting thing is some people are affected much worse than others. The number of likes on an Instagram picture, the comments you get on your Facebook post. If it seems like you can't get away from social media, you could have a problem.
And it tends to activate the reward center of the brain in a way that cocaine use or alcohol use tends to activate that reward center of the brain, increasing dopamine, which is the pleasure chemical. So it works on the same phenomenon.
Dr. Lee Spencer, an addiction psychiatrist, says the number of people looking for help is on the rise. Social media addiction is a subset of internet addiction, characterized by someone's lack of control over use of the internet, leading to distress, mood changes, and social problems.
They're starting to feel depressed if they're not using some sort of social media outlet. So it starts to become a little more pathological when we see people that have these consequences that are adding up.
Consequences also include impaired sleep and feelings of withdrawal when not compulsively checking social media. So who's most at risk?
Patients that have other addictions are more likely to have internet addictions or Facebook addictions.
Now, young people, singles, and people with low self-esteem that are basically validated by all of these posts are also at higher risk.
You do feel bad for the little kids. I mean, because you see so many times they'll post something and then if their friends don't like it enough, I mean, you see how that just...
And that's where that social anxiety really kind of can tumble in.
So it is an addiction. All right. Thank you, Doc. Coming up, first at 4, Keegan-Michael Key won an Emmy, and during his acceptance speech, he made sure to let people know where he came from. We'll fill you in on his Detroit shout-out next. And an exciting announcement from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where the band is playing, that has Metro Detroiters so excited.
Is your home...
All right, let's talk about what is trending on your Monday afternoon. Trending right now, there is a picture of Little Miss Flint. We don't have it right there, and it's going viral. Mari Coatney took a picture with Donald Trump. Now it's going viral because she appears to be afraid. Coatney says that isn't the case, but you can see what people might think. And on the heels of Trump's visit, by the way, to Flint, Hillary Clinton's daughter Chelsea is also expected to visit the city on Thursday. Okay, now let's talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We're just excited. They're making a stop in Detroit on their next tour, and they will be coming to Joe Louis Arena on Thursday, February 2nd. Tickets go on sale Friday, September 23rd at 10 a.m. and can be bought at the Joe Louis box office, the Fox Theater box office, or Ticketmaster.com. Boy, did you see this guy last night on the Emmys? Detroit native Keegan-Michael Key won an Emmy last night. During his acceptance speech, he made sure to let people know where he came from. Key's comedy show, Key and Peele, won the Emmy for Outstanding Variety Sketch Show. And near the end of his acceptance speech, Key shouted, "Love you, Detroit," before exiting the stage. Lots of winners last night. Also, NBC's The Voice won for Best Reality Competition Series. And that brings us to talking about The Voice tonight. It is premiere week here on Local 4. It all starts tonight. The Voice is on at 8. The Good Place is on at 10 p.m. getting some really good reviews, so you make sure to check that one out. And of course, Local 4 News at 11. Coming up ahead, first at 4, we're talking about Just Baked. Some big news for cupcake fans, where you can now get some Just Baked cupcakes at a different kind of place. Coming up.
A tenant in big trouble.
I don't know what to do.
The ceiling in her rental home collapsed. The property manager vanished. Now Help Me Hank comes to the rescue.
Somebody help. Help me, Hank.
And then, you have not told the police that you live in this house. I tracked down the property manager.
You've got one huge secret you haven't told anybody about.
The secret revealed, police moving in.
I'm done talking to you. You are not telling me the truth, and I'm done.
Help Me Hank investigates tonight at 11.
Are you hungry? Well, finally, first at 4, Tubby's is changing the sandwich shop game as a new store is opening over in Sterling Heights, and they're not just selling sandwiches.
No, it's always good to have dessert after a sub. Tubby's acquired the cupcake store Just Baked last year, and from now on, all Tubby's are going to be featuring these guys as well.
Oh my gosh, they look delicious. They have all different kinds, from the red velvet to the Oreo to the lemon to the bumpy cake. This one over here is like sparkles. It looks so delicious.
I've had the pineapple upside down. I've had, I think they call it what, the Fat Elvis or something?
I don't know that one.
peanut butter banana.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, that's
okay.
good. Most of these, I think I've crushed at one time or another.
So support a local company, Tubby's, and obviously another local company, Just Baked, joining together. Another reminder, The Voice, tonight at 8 o'clock. This is always when it's the best because they don't get to see who they're voting for.
2 hours of The Voice, and then The Good Place coming on after.
So stick with Local 4 all afternoon and all evening. We will see you back here, same time, same place. Meantime, we will be back in a half hour. Local 4 News at 5. Inside Edition is next. I think you can go for it.